Welcome to the Mind Games podcast. Today, we have one of the hardest workers in Australian cricket. He has won comps at every level he's played at, and I'm grateful to have played with him along the way. Nathan McAndrew. Enjoy. All right, Nathan McAndrew, mate, welcome to the Mind Games podcast. How you doing?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Mate, super appreciative of this, super appreciative of your support with it, and mate, keen to get into your story. We've actually known each other pretty much our whole lives, like sort of at 9 or 10, I think we would have played some rep cricket and stuff against each other. Yeah. And then, all the way up till sort of my final days at Bankstown. It's been cool to watch your sort of journey from afar. So looking forward to chatting about it, hearing from your point of view.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, mate. Obviously probably some primary school PSSA sort of stuff would have been, I guess 11 or 10, something like that, and played against you and then played with you, and here we are. Mate, that's kind of like, I guess, grew up in the South Coast. I actually played a couple of games down in that comp a couple of years ago for the Lakers, and we win a couple of comps, which was great. But mate, you grew up on the South Coast, played for the Oak Flats Rats, same club as the Lee brothers, same competition as Nick Madison, Adam Zampa, some guys that have made it. Talk us through that sort of cricket growing up there. Your brothers and stuff too, they're the better player in the family as well. Brothers. I don't think he's captaining this year. He had a year off last year with two kids, so his fiance had sort of cracked the whip and told him it's time to stay at home. But he's actually got back playing a few more games this year, which I think he's enjoying. But
yeah, nice.
Yeah, he's done really well for himself down there, been sort of captaining the team for a number of years as well. So
how many sticks a year does he steal off you?
Nah, not too many, to be honest. I actually gave him one. I mean, he doesn't hit that many balls. As you know, training down on the South Coast, you don't really train too much. No, so that sort of keeps the wicket, keeps the stick in good nick. But no, I gave him this one probably about 5 years ago that he still uses. It was like not a great stick, like real bottom heavy, bit of a railway sleeper, wasn't really the best bat. For whatever reason, he just loved it. And then I've given him bats in the past after that have been better.
He doesn't use them.
And he doesn't use them. He still uses this one that's just ultra bottom heavy.
Yeah, wow.
Probably good for club cricket down there. Not much ball speed. You don't really need to worry about the short ball. So he's got this real bottom heavy bat that he can just climb into.
You don't worry about helmets either.
He's not too worried about helmets or the short ball down there. So, he's got this old one that's battered and bruised and got tape all over it, and he still rocks with it.
Yeah, I love it. Are you still with MB?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Crow, he's looked after you for a long time.
He's looked after me for a long time. He's been very, very good to me.
Was it 11 or 12 years now?
Yeah, they've been good, rocking the shoes as well, as always. He's been amazing to me, obviously, as a coach at Bankstown, and then since I moved on to South Australia and not at Bankstown anymore, but New Balance has sort of been there from the start, and there's no better person to be involved with. Like, got the footwear, cricket gear as well, casual clothing, like it's perfect. Everything under one umbrella. So
absolutely,
why fix what ain't broken?
Love it. I'm sure they're paying you more than they're paying Cummins as well.
Definitely not.
Anyway, mate, with South Coast cricket, talk about coming through the ranks down there. I think we actually played a game of Kookaburra Cup. Or did you play the rep stuff with Kerrod?
I played a lot with Kerrod. I don't know. Kookaburra Cup, was that the one in Canberra?
Nah, you guys would have been south. We were north. We won the north. We played we played at Oak Flats, and we beat you in the final. I'm pretty sure you were opening the batting.
Might have.
Pretty sure.
Probably. Oh, I did open the batting back then. So it's pretty funny. I was actually talking to Nick Madison about this the other day. We were laughing about it. He was telling a few people at the Thunder about it. We had a rep side. They were a year older than me, 2 years in school, but 1 year with cricket with late birthdays. And we had a under 13s rep side on the South Coast, which is only like the first level rep cricket, which, as you know, in country cricket, it's changed a bit now, but like there's a lot of different stages until you actually get higher up. So the first level, like district cricket, which is still low level, we had Adam Zampa, Nick Madison and myself. Mitchell Phelps, who our viewers won't know, but played a lot of Sydney first grade cricket,
for context,
some second 11 cricket.
The viewers do know because I've told this story a couple of times. I don't think Phelps is bowled a ball to me in the nets I haven't nicked.
He's one of the best,
most talented bowlers.
Yeah, phenomenal, first grade cricket. I played a lot of second 11 cricket as well with him at ACT. So a very good cricketer.
Yeah.
Had him as well. And like for that in a district rep side, it was a joke.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, all three of us didn't do what we do now. So I opened the batting and didn't bowl. Adam Zampa opened the batting and bowled little medium pace in swingers, and Matto kept and batted 6. And sort of here we are, 20 years later, and Matto's obviously went on to be an opening batter and smacks them. Zamps bowls leggies, and I'm a bowler who can slog a few. So. It's funny. It's probably a good story for kids that, at 12, if you haven't got it all figured out, you might try something else, because what you're doing might not be the thing at 12. Like, there's a lot of time to figure it out after that.
That's what kind of wigged me out when we'll go back to that, but when we went to Bankstown, and you were kind of like batting down the bottom ish, like maybe like 8 or 9, and open the bowling. And I remember going like, it took me like probably 3 or 4 games to figure out, like, it's like, I swear he was a batter. Like, I swear he didn't bowl.
Took me about 3 years to figure it out. So, I didn't start really, but like in country cricket, as you know, you bowl, if you're any remotely good, like you're sort of doing a bit of everything. But, like when I would get to sort of the highest level of rep that I could find, sort of my level at the time, I was an opening batter and maybe like a 6th bowling option. Not bowling, but if someone gets tapped, I can bowl, can offer a bit. So that was sort of what I was. And then, my last year, in school, probably like year 11, 17 years old, roughly, I probably had a bit of a growth spurt. Yeah. So I was a real late developer, like quite a weak kid, and you get a real difference to that through the age groups, as you know, sort of 15, 16, you start getting, some guys are fully grown and massive and smacking the ball. And here I was like a little opening batter, couldn't hit him off the square, and could only score square of the wicket, which isn't great when an opening batsman's looking square. You're going to nick everything, which is what I did, and hence why I didn't make it as an opening batter. But had a bit of a growth spurt in year 11, and then started bowling more sort of for Oak Flats and sort of in my rep cricket stuff. Moved to Bankstown to just play club cricket. I wasn't really going to play professionally. Like, I would have obviously loved to. It was always the dream, but never really a realistic thing after not playing pathway cricket, not playing 17s or 19s. And, you see how many guys play state cricket and then don't go on to go any higher than first grade. Like, it's just the reality. It's hard to get into. So I was just moving up to play more competitive cricket, because I was always ultra competitive.
That's interesting, because you very much were all chips in. Yeah. Like, when you went, so I think I got there probably 3 years after that, because I played at NDs for 3 or 4 years prior. And then I came to Bankstown, and even then, like, I think I'd played Bankstown a couple of times, and you probably bowled to me. Yeah. And I literally still in my head just didn't click that you were a bowler now. Yeah. But like, it's interesting that when I got to Bankstown, I remember just a massive thing straight away was like, Jesus, how hard does Macca work? And then I knew you were doing, like, shout out to Jock Athletic, but you were doing a lot of sessions with Jock. Yeah. You were doing a lot of this extra stuff. And so to hear that you were kind of just going up to play and, have a crack and see what sort of happens.
I kind of became addicted to the environment, to be honest, because like, to me, when I got to Bankstown training, that felt like I was playing professional cricket. Like, coming from the country where, you turn up to Oak Flats training, and on a Friday night there'd be 8 people if you're lucky. 1 first grader, 2 second graders, 2 third graders, and a 4th grader. You just got the bowling machine out, everyone bowls to each other. So you go from that to, and again, sort of, I think a lot of it comes from not playing state 17s and 19s and not being in those academies where you look at the access that those kind of guys, or those kids, get by coming through the pathway. Like, I know who some of the pathway coaches are now. So to get to work with guys like Grant Lambert, for instance, as a 17-year-old kid, that's amazing to get to work with someone with that kind of knowledge. So for me, I didn't really have that. So once I got to Bankstown and, seeing 35 people at training, and
you've got
Daryl Tuffy and Aaron Bird are there talking about bowling with me, when I'd never had that kind of thing, I just became addicted to that. And I loved the game just more than anything else. I was studying at uni, doing civil engineering, and like doing it because I felt like I would need to do that and get a real job. Yeah. But like, if you could have asked me, what do I want to do? Like, obviously I want to be a cricketer. I just didn't think it was very realistic. But I just became so addicted to that kind of environment, and just how, that to me, it felt like that was professional cricket. Obviously it wasn't, but that environment from where we'd come from felt just chalk and cheese, and I loved that environment. So
Agree. It was a great culture in those years.
Yeah.
Like I know for me, I that year before, so I'd played a couple of years of first grade NDs, like ones and twos kind of thing.
Yep.
Went to England, came back, hurt my knee, kind of had like half a year off. I ended up playing like the last few games in Newcastle actually, because I was living on the Central Coast of my parents' place. And I was pretty much like, that's sort of me done for cricket. And I was like 19 or 20, maybe 20. And Crowie actually came in the shop one day at my parents' store and goes, "What are you doing for cricket this year?" And he was obviously involved in 19s and stuff, and we were coming through. So I'd had a fair bit to do with Crowie. And he was like, I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to play." And he goes, "Mate, before you stop, come to one session at Bankstown."
Yeah.
Went to one session, and it was all my mates were there, like you boys and Kerrod and all that sort of stuff were there. But I was like, I got there and I was like, "Oh, how good's this?" I remember I told this last time when I was talking to Will Salzman, but my first net session at Bankstown, the indoor nets, I've gone into bat. They put me in the first grade net. Sweet, all good. Stand up, first ball's Phelps. 100% I would have nicked it, because I don't reckon Phelps has bowled a ball that I haven't nicked. Next ball was you, and I remember going, "Oh, geez, Macca's got a bit quicker." Then third ball was Daryl. I remember looking up going, "Who's that?" And it was Daryl Tuffy.
Yeah.
Then Jared Burke would have blown my front pad off, bowling left arm off those. And then Jason Hayward tried to hit me in the head because he was bowling that far over the front line.
That's generous. It's probably even further over the line than that. Yeah.
And I literally reckon I've spent 15 minutes in the nets and probably hit 3 balls and they're all nicks.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking but I walked out, had it hit in the bowling machine probably with Kerrod, and was like, how good's this? Like, I'm absolutely signing here. So that environment was very addictive, and it was a cool place to be. And the success we had over those sort of, I only played there for a couple of years, but the success you guys had over like 4 or 5 years sort of was a testament to that. So coming through, what grade did you start at Bankstown?
Started in second grade.
Yep.
Which was like, I wasn't even expecting to play then. Like, it happened quite
Were
quickly.
you killing South Coast cricket?
Not really. Like, so for instance, like, you remember Kieran Gray?
Yeah.
So Kieran was from the Shoalhaven, moved up to come play at Oak Flats a couple of years before going to Sydney.
Yeah.
And me and him were opening the batting for Oak Flats, and he'd done a lot better than me. He'd scored, he was getting 300 or 400s a year.
Yeah.
I think I scored 100 maybe as an opening batter, and started bowling a bit more. So, like, I was doing well and I was a good player, but I wasn't like dominating it. And so he went to Sydney to play at Bankstown the year before me. And as an opening batter, played mainly fourth grade, a couple of games of third grade, didn't like it, and then went down the South Coast, like chucked in after a year and went back home.
Yeah.
And the year that he moved back was the year that I moved up. And I had a lot of people saying, like, "Oh, you're not ready. Like, Kieran's just done that." And, and he's respectfully a better batter than you, which he was.
Yeah. He was a good player.
He was a really good player. And they had every right to say that. He churned out way more runs than I had. And he not enjoyed it. He got stuck in the lower grades and said, "You're not ready. Have another good year. Wait till you get up, like, score some more runs, go up with a bit more confidence and go up there." And it wasn't really that I was going up there to, as I said, I wanted to go up there just to play more competitive cricket. I wasn't moving up there to be like, okay, this is a step into playing professional cricket. I just wanted to play a more competitive brand of cricket.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people back home, you start at 1 o'clock. People have gone to the pub the night before. You turn up half an hour before the game starts.
I did that
take
first
the covers
grade.
off. Yeah. And but for me, I knew that wasn't going to get the most out of me. I felt like I was better than what I was showing as well. I didn't expect it to go as well as what it did and to start in second grade. And I didn't expect to start in second grade as a first change bowler batting at 9, which was the thing. So, like, I turned up at Bankstown training, and he's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "I'll open the batting and bowl a bit." And by the first training session, I was out in the centre wicket with Aaron Bird, and he was working on my bowling with me. And I was like, bit confused. I was like, well, stoked that Aaron Bird was working with me on my bowling, because I'd watched him bowl massive reverse swing Yorkers on TV for New South Wales before it was the big bash, like the New South Wales T20s. So I was just like, "Oh, this guy's working with me. This is the coolest thing ever." But also I'm doing bowling, which I've like never really been my skill. And so that was just like strange. And then, first game, batted, got picked in 2s, which I was over the moon about, like couldn't believe it, and was batting 9. So I was also like, "Oh, it's a bit shame. Like, I wish I was batting higher." So I was like stoked, but also devastated at one point as well. First game, we played Hawkesbury, and I took 4 for 60 off about 22 overs. Never bowled more than 8 or 10 overs in my life. Couldn't walk for a week. And then, did pretty well the next couple of games. And by, I I reckon round 4 or 5 I was in first grade, and then bowling, and again, like, it all happened really quickly, way more before I had like skill in, and belief in my bowling. Like, I was playing first grade, and then that first year we sort of did okay, just missed the finals, and then the next year we went to the grand final, lost, and we went to those 4 grand finals in a row, and straight away sort of went into the Thunder Academy year after that, playing sort of second 11 cricket as well. So like, things started to happen really quickly, way before I had any sort of confidence or competence in my bowling, because I'd only really just started doing it. So that was a pretty strange period, and sort of took me a little while to really get comfortable with that. But yeah, it was a funny one, and I think from there it happened so quickly that then, as you said earlier, I was chips in. Like, that was like, okay, well, I didn't expect this to happen, but I've now got this opportunity, and like, let's just commit to this 100%. And
love it. But there was also like, you also really worked really hard at every aspect of it, like your fielding as well. Like, I know that comes with fitness, and that comes with athleticism and different things as well. But like, your fielding, I don't really remember if you were a good fielder when we were younger, so I can't really comment on that. But I remember being at Bankstown being like, fuck, Macca's a freak. Like, where did that come from? Like, kind of thing. Not where did it come from, but also like, you didn't just go, oh, okay, now I'm a bowler. Like, you went chips in on everything. Yeah. Like, there was fielding that you worked really hard at as well.
Yeah, I think that's sort of just how I've always been. I've always been a very black and white person, sort of, not just with cricket, just in general, my personality. I think, maybe that's the inner part of me that had me studying engineering, like, very task focused, very black and white. Get that from my dad. My dad was an engineer, was very much if you're going to do something, do it 100%. And yeah, that's just sort of how I've always been, I guess, like, very just task focused. So if I'm doing something, I'm all in. But yeah, I think I always had like a good arm. Yeah. So I suppose that's quite natural. But it was always a pretty good mover. I probably declined a little bit with the fielding, with all the overs I've bowled, and the knees don't seem to bend as well as what I used to. But and with vertigo at the moment, it's not the easiest trying to track the ball. But no, definitely in my younger years, I was pretty good in the field. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I think just combination of how I've always been, and also Crowie as well. Like, you always had that saying, commitment for commitment. Yeah. And I think that's something that really stuck with me. And I also think I had a lot to prove as well, because I'd come from not playing pathway cricket. So it sort of felt like I was always, whether I actually did or didn't, like, couldn't tell you what selectors were thinking or whatnot. It just always felt like I had to do more than the next guy to overtake him, sort of thing, or to get that spot, whether that was purely just in my own head.
Love it.
But when you feel like you've come from not being in the pathways, and you're looking across, and Kerrod or Jake Cormack or Souls and all these guys have played New South Wales under 19, straight away you're thinking, like, even though they're my teammates, it's like, well, if I want to cement my spot in this team or go to the next level, like, I've got to work even harder than them, because they're clearly more talented, or else I would have played pathway cricket. Like, they pick pathway cricket based off of attributes. Like, at that age, you can't really tell if someone's got it mentally. Like, no one really at that age does. Like, some naturally have it a little bit, but
the Australian captain might have had it.
Might have had it at that point. But again, like, he was also just physically gifted as well. So absolutely. Like, you're picking in the pathways, you're picking on attributes, and that's not necessarily what I had as a young age. So I felt like I was always trying to, not necessarily, or chip on my shoulder, or just trying to make it, and trying to stay there, and then trying to get to the next level. It always felt like I kind of had to do more than the next guy to overtake them, or to, if I'm trying to get the New South Wales selectors' attention, I feel like, given that obviously I wasn't in the pathways, and it's quite rare, that starting to happen a little bit more now with Big Bash, with T20 cricket, like, it's creating more pathways for people who maybe weren't in pathway cricket, or were and didn't go straight onto a rookie and on the list. I think T20 cricket's opened up a few more opportunities for those kind of guys. Yeah. But especially when I was sort of coming through, like, myself and Chris Green at the Thunder were probably the first two really to come through without playing any pathway cricket. So it was quite rare at that time as well. People weren't really looking at many people outside their pathways or outside their sort of talent pool. So I felt like I had to do a lot to sort of break that wall down.
I think, because I played a lot with Greenie as well at NDs, yeah. I think, like, he was obviously, and, like, don't take offense, he was a super talented player as well. But one thing that with Greeny is he did work his ass off as well.
Absolutely.
So that's probably the one thing that you guys have in common in a sense of like they're looking at the two hardest trainers in the room and going like these two are as fit as anyone. They're, their fieldings are on par with anyone or as good as anyone's. So those two areas are the two hardest probably bits to elevate. Like we can work on the rest of their skill and we can get them to where they sort of need to be, even though they haven't as obviously played that pathway stuff. But mate, full credit to you. Like as I said, I don't mean it as an insult, but like coming through, not that you like weren't the most talented, but you just weren't someone that you'd go, oh, like that he's going to play for Australia as an opening batter, which you didn't.
No. Sure.
But well, you might haven't yet as an opening batter. Or Scott Boland does.
Yeah,
so maybe you're a chance. But like, your hard work's definitely something that sort of stood out. I know that you did a lot of work with Jock over those sort of few years at Bankstown, and they were so like from my perception of it, you were pretty much in Sydney 7 days a week, living on the south coast, right? Like you were down pretty much every afternoon training with either Jock or Bankstown, and then playing on the weekends with Bankstown. What one, it's a lot of time in the car. Two, I know there's a little bit of carpooling, maybe with Kerrod or Phelpsy or whatever, a little bit, but a lot of time by yourself thinking, a lot of time, a lot of petrol, a lot of like all this sort of investment in certain areas that you sort of had to put through before you started seeing any sort of fruition. I suppose you were seeing a bit because you're playing first grade, but what drove you to do that? Like what made you go, oh, I'm going to go and find these additional resources like Jock, invest. That would have cost money as well. Like, all this stuff that is investing in your future that you're now like seeing the fruitions of now. What sort of made you chase those additional, like I want to work hard? Is it just that chip on your shoulder or?
I think so. I think I also needed to go see Jock as well, like bowling. So for instance, like I'd never done a gym session. Like in the pathways, again, that's sort of something they're doing. They've got full gym programs to work on, whether they're maybe not lifting super heavy at that age to protect their back, but they're learning the techniques. They're learning a full, strengthening all the right muscle groups, hamstrings, glutes, lower back, trying to, get yourself ready to bowl fast because it's an incredibly physically demanding thing. So you need to have strong legs, strong core. And, I'd not been going to the gym really. I was upper body weights, at that age. I'd built a chin-up bar in year 10 metalwork, so I did chin-ups and push-ups. I always had a bit of upper muscles, body, beach muscles. But like, I'd never done a squat. I'd never done a Nordic. I'd never done anything remotely geared around performance or gym. My first year in Sydney, that was sort of something that sitting down at the end of the year, that talking to Crowie and Aaron Bird, that need to start building my body to be a fast bowler. Helps you put on a bit of speed, but also just durability to be able to run in all day, and especially once I started playing Futures League cricket, to be able to bowl the same pace day one as day 4 when the game's on the line. So I was really fortunate that Bankstown paid for me to go see Jock, so I was incredibly lucky there, and as it just speaks to how sort of professional they are as a non-professional club. The way that they, a lot of teams throw big money at people, pay 20, 30 grand to go play club cricket, and then they play and then they're gone and it doesn't amount to anything. Bankstown weren't someone who would pay, big money, but they would invest certain things like that to help you that would genuinely help. So I was really fortunate that sort of Crowie and Birdie were really big on that, and they saw that as a way to, as an investment that's going to pay off in the long run. So I was really fortunate. That was their idea. They set that all up. So for me, I just had to sort of put the effort in, and as Crowie said, like commitment for commitment sort of keeps coming back to that.
I love it.
If I'm committed and I'm going to show up and put in the work, then they'll front the bill. They're not going to front the bill if I'm going to turn up and half-ass it or not turn up to a session. But
that's unreal. Well, you've kind of taken that to an extreme though, right? Like they've and full, as I said, once again, full credit to you, but like they've put this opportunity on the table and you've gone and just ran with it. So that 7 days a week in Sydney, like that's something that, well, I know, for example, for first-hand experience, like I had that, but I would have had the same opportunity. I didn't take that. I didn't do like I was at Bankstown too. Like I didn't go, I was in Sydney 7 days a week. I was there maybe one.
No,
I was there Thursdays for training.
A lot of hours in the car. Like it was either uni or work in the morning and then clock off at 2:30 or whatever it would be. Sometimes meet the boys occasionally, depending on where you're coming from. Like Phelpsy was working at the Steelworks. in Wollongong, so occasionally after uni we could sort of rendezvous near the uni and then drive up together. But for the most part, just sort of in the car by yourself, and work or uni until 2 or whatever, and then drive up to Sydney.
Tell me, is there a lot of manifesting through those periods, like, or are you just
not at that age? I wasn't really.
Like subconsciously, like, are you in the car going like,
in a way,
if I keep this session's one day going to help me get to where I want to get to?
It's hard to remember. It's so long ago. I think probably not. Probably just had the music on and just singing along and just trying to numb yourself out and pretend that you're not
cool.
doing it.
That's being in the moment, right? That's being present.
I think. I mean, don't get me wrong. The mind definitely did drift on those drives, as you're aware when you're doing it so many times. But I hadn't worked with any sports ox back then, so I wasn't really super in tuned on sort of the mental part of the game at that point. I was just doing. It was tough. It was boring. It was not enjoyable, all the drives, but it was just a part of what I had to do to get to where I wanted to get to. Yeah. And it was, as I go back to saying, I'm quite black and white. Like it's that simple. I know it sucks, but I've sort of just always had the ability to tolerate something that sucks if it's in service of something potentially good.
Love it.
If you think it's going to be useless, you're not going to do it. But
yeah, for sure.
I felt like, again, that was something I was missing. I didn't have access to that, and now I did. So that's something I'm going to attack with both hands, and then if I feel like there's benefit in it, then I'm going to find a way to get through it.
Mate, love it. That's a cracker. I last little bit about talking about Jock Athletic as well, but he when I was chatting to him a little bit about you, he told a story about yours and Felber's first session that you guys did at his at Wanda Sand Dunes, I think it was. Yeah. And he said that he's kind of rocked up like in your cricket New South Wales gear, it might have been Thunder gear or ACT or whatever it was. Yeah. He's kind of both standing and you're like, oh, like what are we doing? And you're a bit fitter than Felper, but he's both standing there like, what's the go? And he reckons he looked at you and went, if you can beat those two, and they're like two 12-year-old girls, you can go home. Yeah. And apparently you both sort of like smirked. And then apparently you've run past Jock and gone, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Jock, and just kept going because they beaten you by about a mile. And then apparently they came through a second time and Felper still hadn't come through the first.
They were, mate, if one thing I did learn over running on the sand, soft sand a lot, it's beneficial to be lighter. Yeah. But even then, like they'd smash us on the grass or on the trail. Like he had some fit runners there. Yeah, okay. And he had a couple of people that were training for the Commonwealth Games. He also had some just 12-year-old girls and some surf lifesavers all in between running, and the little girls were freaks, like absolute just go and just
So have they
going.
kicked on in their running now? Or you don't know?
I don't think so. They were just unbelievable runners for the time. He did have one lady, Eloise, I forget her last name, Wellings or something like that, but she's gone to the Commonwealth Games as a runner. But just all of them, like even his worst runners who aren't going to amount to anything are hell of a lot faster than a couple of wannabe cricketers. I can assure you that.
Well, he did say that in terms of cricketing athletes, that you were the second hardest worker that he'd worked with, the first being Brett Lee, another Oak Flats rat. Yeah. But he did say that Brett Lee was a bit more athletically gifted than yourself.
I'd say so, yeah. I think naturally by the speed gun would suggest as well, like hovering around 135 to 137, maybe not quite
he's
the
about
same
157.
As Brett Lee, he was, I've not heard that from Jocks. That's very nice
he
of him to
absolutely
say.
said that on about 5
Something
a.m.
about
walking.
come from the Oak Flats Rats, I guess. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mate, all good. The next couple of years, you playing a little bit of, so you're playing first grade at Bankstown, you're playing a little bit of second 11 for ACT, you make your Big Bash debut. I'm pretty sure this was my last year at Bankstown. Make your Big Bash debut. The Thunder actually win the Big Bash this year with Dre Russ and Paddy Cummins and Usman.
Oh, no Paddy. So Paddy, that was sort of the years where his back was no good. So that's how I got my opportunity. I was his replacement player.
But that was the team, right?
Shane
like
Watson,
there was
Mike Hussey,
was
Jack
Usman,
Khawaja.
Yeah. Is this the season Usman scored those hundreds?
Yeah.
So you win that. You were telling me a bit off air, you then jump, you have the celebrations, you miss day one of the second 11 game, you come back day two, bowl 30 overs. Yeah. And then that finishes and you get back and Darryl Tuffy calls you and you're on a plane to play for the Auckland Aces and make your first class debut. Talk us through that.
Yeah. Whirlwind. So I'll never forget. Sort of finished my shift at Jamboree Action Park, where I was working at the time, and had a missed call from the Sydney Thunder general manager at the time. So I had been doing some stuff in the Thunder Academy, and this was just after Christmas time, early January. So like Big Bash is halfway through, and called him back straight away as soon as I'd clocked off work, and he's like, "Oh, mate, look, we're just about to head up to Brisbane for a game. When we get back, we want you to join the squad as Pat's replacement player." So they knew they were going to do that from the start, but you pay replacement players by the game. So they waited till about halfway through because they probably knew I wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
Ironically, I ended up playing, but you're sort of doing it to give me experience more than anything. And so there's no point paying me for the whole time. So they were trying to cut on costs there. But I came in for, I reckon it was the last 4 games as a replacement player. Into the squad, that is, and then just walked from Bankstown, which I loved. All of a sudden you walk into a change room with Uzi wasn't there, he was playing for the Aussies at the time, came back later, Shane Watson, Mike Hussey, Jacques Callis, Andre Russell, Clint Mackay. You're just like, this is
that's
like deer in headlights, genuinely. I couldn't believe it.
Was the keeper Josh Butler?
No, that was later on. It was Chris Hartley, my first year from Queensland, and so I sort of walk into that, never in my wildest dreams expecting to play, and just trying to soak it in and just try and not act like I'm a scared little child in that environment sort of thing. But just got involved. We lost a couple of games, and then Jacques Callis got injured second last game of the season. So I ended up then playing the last game. Like for like player. Very like for like. He got injured. I make my debut in the Sydney Derby, last game of the year, sold out at the SCG, 40,000, and we had to win to get through to the finals.
Pause you there. Talk me through that morning. Like considering where you were, like say 3 years prior, or maybe 4 years, whenever you opened the batting for Oak Flats.
Yep.
Talk me through. Are you just trying to be in the moment, or what are you thinking here?
I don't think I was, to be honest. I wasn't in the moment. I can assure you. Back then, like again at that point, still just imposter syndrome. Really looking back on it, like hadn't done a preseason, wasn't part of like the Sydney Thunder don't have a preseason. Like you do some stuff with the academy, but that's just the guys in grade cricket. So like you're in that environment, but you're not like it's just your peers really. And not on contract with New South Wales. So I'm just effectively a full-time club cricketer, really. And then all of a sudden you're in this environment. So I was scared shitless. Like I was super anxious, all those sorts of things. Like,
so tell me, the fact that you know that you're, if not the one of the fittest out there, and you work that hard on your fielding, the commitment for commitment, that same sort of area, you know that you can put your hand up in those areas where you might need to run boundary to boundary. You might need to... at the back end of a 2020 when everyone's gassed and you've just run 10K on the field, sprinting across the field and bowled 4 overs, you know that you're going to be there at the 20th over still feeling fresh. Yeah. Is that a bit of confidence you had internally, or? Not
really, to be honest. No? I didn't have much confidence going into it.
Okay.
I suppose I did, but I didn't, because back then, I look back at it now and like knowing how much experience I have now, how many games I've played and how many bad games you still have. Like I look back now with that little knowledge, and I think, how on earth did it not go even worse? Because but back then you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. Like it's
who's the Sixers have? Are you playing against?
Sixers had Michael Lum, Brad Haddon, Nick Manson, Ed Cowan. Just a bit of a blur after that. I just remember I bowled to those guys. Jordan Silk, I think, was still playing. Moses would have been playing.
Yeah.
Was
Doug Binger
Bollinger,
playing?
I don't think. I think Binger had just finished up, so I didn't. Yeah, Binger didn't play, but Doug Bollinger, Socky, those sorts of guys. So but I wasn't really overawed by them because like the guys we had, I was more overawed by. But it was just wondering how it's all going to go. So like you just mind's on fast forward. You're trying to not think about it, but all you can do is think about it.
Yeah.
Hadn't worked with any sports psychologist at that point, so I didn't really have the I wouldn't say coping mechanisms, but the processes in place to sort of deal with those sorts of heightened emotions, like you do now.
And also the biggest crowd you've played in front of, probably 10 times 10.
And the rest. At that point, we probably played a one-day final for Bankstown, which would have been the biggest crowd we would have had, which would have been 300 people maybe, 250
Glen
people.
McGrath,
at Glen McGrath, year before that. So, you go from that to debuting at the SCG, a ground you've been going to watch cricket and AFL at for 20 years, to all of a sudden you're walking out there and you're just like, holy shit, like this is loud. Trying to figure it all out. I was lucky. I sort of got a good catch early on. I was at third man. Michael Lum, nasty one. I'll talk it up. Lum sort of across the wicket, like big top edge down to third man, lots of spin. Sort of came running in and slid and took a nice catch down low. So that sort of like
Did you carry
calmed me down. Nah, don't think so. I just sort of got up and threw it in. I was pretty just relief more than anything. It wasn't like too much excitement, just pure relief. And then I bowled my first over. And it was funny, like back then I used to swing it quite a lot and was more of a swing bowler. And I'd been bowling really well in the nets, like to be fair. I'd bowled to Aiden Blizzard one game, one training session, and had like knocked him over 2 or 3 balls in a row, or 3 out of 4 or 5, like bowling big in swingers. And Chris Hartley, the keeper, was on the mic at the time as I was sort of about to bowl. And so the commentators had gone to him going, what's this? What's the debutant doing? He's like, Ed Cowan was on strike. He's like, like good match up here. Like he's been swinging in the net, so like good chance that he, swings on back down the line here. And I was so nervous that I got so quick through my action in terms of like my timing. I just pushed them off, bowled 2 wides in a row across the lefty. So,
were they your first 2 balls?
First 2 balls. No, I think first ball was length, and then the next 2. So went across, and so like that's just how sped up I was. Like I was deer in headlights. I reckon I went for 20 off 2 overs, which not good, but also not terrible. Certainly gone for worse. And we won the game. We smashed it. We got about 200, and we defended it easily. We won. Went through to the quarterfinal. We had to watch the next day. The Strikers were playing the Renegades. Strikers had to win for us to go through. They were number 1 ranked. Renegades were quite low, so we were pretty confident.
Yeah.
Strikers got whatever they got, and then all of a sudden Chris Gale comes out, and that was the 50 off 12 balls against our good mate Westy. So we're at Bondi Icebergs watching it, and all of a sudden we're not sure. We're waiting to see whether we're going to board a flight the next day
or
to
get
Adelaide
on
or Mad Monday. And after about 3 overs, Clint McIder went to the bar and ordered quite a few jugs because he's like, well, this is done. And then they got Chris Gale out and collapsed, and all of a sudden, people were scurrying off to go home and pack their suitcase because we were going to Adelaide the next day for the semi-final. So went down there, and personally bowled a lot better the second game. Only bowled 2 overs again. We had so many all-rounders. Bowled 2 overs, number 14, so I was pretty stoked with that. We held them to like 160 on a highway. Uzi went out, smacked 100. We chased it with like 5 overs to go to the grand final. Unfortunately, got dropped for Jacques Callis, bit stiff, but he had literally no hamstring. He was on 1 leg, but that was his last season ever. He retired from international cricket. That was the last tournament he was playing, so that was his last game. So he just said, the physio, I'm playing. He still was cooked. He'd done a grade 2 hamstring, not a good one. And he went out, opened the batting, got like 30 off 20 balls and bowled 4 overs, 2 for 20. So like even on 1 leg, still just gunned it.
What a player.
And we won it. So
Tell me, do you still have his number?
Probably not. I'd never saved it. I'd have to go through the WhatsApp back then and see if it's still in there. But no, there's been no.
So you didn't lean into the
with
big
Jacques.
dogs much?
Not with Jacques, because he was just sort of gone with Watto and Huss. Like Huss only played that year, then he retired, but then he's obviously commentated a lot over the years, and not kept in touch with him on the phone much, but more so just when you see him around the grounds. Watto the same. But Huss actually messaged me after we won the Shield final last year on WhatsApp. Just got a message at whatever time it was in the morning that I checked my phone, and had a message from Mike Hussey saying, congrats on the year, awesome achievement and whatnot. So I was like, oh, wow, how good is that? Huss still remembers me enough to text me, so that was pretty cool.
And it is cool as well in a way of it shows you've won at every level, and we'll get more to that in a second, but now you're at the point where you're making that bigger impact on, you're playing that larger role in winning. So you've carried through, and yes, you were doing that at Bankstown too, but in that Say Thunder series, you were, as you said, probably the 11th player.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're playing for South Australia and you're kind of the main guy, or one of the main guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, you win the Big Bash. Talk me through this.
Yeah.
Where's the celebrations? Where did you go?
No, we were just in the change room. We were at the MCG. We beat the Stars down there, and MCG change rooms are ginormous. So, and we had loads of family. There was quite a few people. Paddy Upton was the coach at that time. He had a few people, so like club ambassadors, really, that just people that he wanted to meet. They were all surfers. Like Mick Fanning's coach was there.
Yeah.
There was a big wave surfer in there, and so they were all in there. And my dad and my brother came down and watched. So my dad he surfs every day still. He's 72, 71, still surfs every morning. So he was in there talking to Mick Fanning's coach, just like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
We're in there till late, until security kicked us out, which I can't remember, would have been like 1 o'clock. And then we just went back to the hotel and drank in sort of the team room, and the GM sort of just put the company card up and said, order whatever you want on room service, just stay here and don't make too many headlines. So we didn't sleep, just sort of drank through the whole night in sort of like the boardroom of the hotel sort of thing. Went down for champagne breakfast, and then literally went to the airport to fly to Hobart, which was day one of the Futures game, which we didn't play. Ironically, Aiden Blizzard, who was with me at the Thunder, was captain, coach, general manager, everything of ACT cricket basically. Was supposed to play, pulled himself out of the game, made me play. So the game was cooked already. Like, we got bowled out for 150, and they were already 2 for 80 at stumps on day one. So it wasn't looking good. We're in the dirt all day the next day. Flew back to Sydney, and Daryl Tuffle called me and said, "Oh, do you have any interest in going over to New Zealand and playing some first class cricket over there?" I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. Super random. Andre Adams, just on the phone to him, and they don't have big contract lists over there as big as what we have here. So they'd had a couple of injuries. One guy had dual citizenship, had committed to go over to England, and they'd ruled him out for the rest of the season. So they were just looking for a person who was a bit more ready.
So tell me, can they have an overseas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like we can have an overseas in Shield cricket, we just don't usually. So I was probably the cheapest overseas in the history of overseas players. But
you're paying your own way.
Yeah, well, no, they paid for me that, but it wasn't getting too much more than that. But it was just an incredible opportunity.
Absolutely.
And ironically, sort of, they don't have a final over there, so it's just like the EPL, first past the post.
Yeah.
They were coming first at the time, played 3 games, had a draw and won 2, and that was enough for them to win it. They still had 2 more rounds, and their general manager called me because I wanted to come back had to start uni, had grade finals as well for Bankstown, and we'd been to the final a couple of years and lost it, so I really wanted to come back and win for Bankstown. And the general manager called me the day after my last game that I was scheduled to play there and said, "Oh, mate, you're interested in staying on for the next 2 games?" I was like, "Oh, mate, I'm at the airport. Like, I'm going home."
Yeah,
so he's
okay.
like, "Oh, geez, that happened quick." But so they sent me a medal once they won it, which was nice. Still got that at mum and dad's for the Plunket Shield, which is their version of Sheffield Shield. And then came back, and then we won the final for Bankstown as well. So that was pretty cool season.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mate, unreal. And as I said, like, that's kind of sums up you won everything that year. You won the 1-day comp, 2-day comp, Big Bash, Plunket Shield. Like, that's where do you sit back and reflect at the end of that season, or you're like, I'm going to go harder again next year?
I probably didn't, to be honest. I just wanted to keep playing, keep winning, and that was basically like as high as it could have possibly got at that point. And then slowed down pretty quickly over the next 2 years. Like, got a Thunder contract again for the next year. Didn't play a game, and we came last. So like, when you're coming last, you're like,
get an opportunity.
Different thing if you're not playing and the team's winning. You're like, well, obviously not going to crack into this team. But when you've got a taste, obviously through injury the year before, but you feel like you've improved. You feel like you're a year better. And you're losing games and coming last, it's like, well, we're going to change this up and we're going to get a gig.
Because there was also, at this point as well, quite a few guys left Banky as well, right?
Yeah.
Like Berkey and all that left. So I think you end up batting forward, didn't you? How do you move? Yeah,
maybe not straight away that next year, but gradually over a couple of years sort of started batting a bit higher up as well. But it was sort of, we're starting to perform pretty well for Bankstown, like with bat and ball, and sort of, again, like, doing the whole pre-season thing, driving to Sydney 6 days a week in the off-season, trying to, as I said, like, for me in that position, not having a state contract, Big Bash not only was a chance for me to get into Big Bash and like be set there, but also a chance to try and perform there and then, get into the state system as well. So at that point, I wanted it way too much. Like, I'd got that opportunity, and then it was like, okay, this is my opportunity to get this. And so I was chips in, as always was, but I was just so focused on doing well to get that, as opposed to just being able to sort of enjoy the moment. And then that, especially when you don't get a chance to play, you putting so much, and then you just really frustrated. You're sort of spinning your wheels. So didn't play again, BBL 6 and BBL 7. So I was on a 1-year contract for both those years. I actually got delisted for BBL 7. So BBL 6 got a contract, didn't play. We come last. Got delisted. They went with Liam Hatcher instead of me. Pat was out with his back again, so I came back in as an injury replacement. I was there for the whole time, but didn't play again. So there's sort of 2 full years really where just nothing, after having this amazing year, like best year ever, we win every tournament, get an opportunity to debut. So your mind starts going, perfect, I'm going to just keep going and all that. All of a sudden, 2 full years go by of just going up to Sydney 6 days a week, putting everything into it, doing uni really part-time so that I can try and make cricket work. So I'm sort of spinning my wheels. I'm delaying uni. So, if I just get rid of cricket, I can finish uni, get out, get a proper job and get on with my life. Or so you're sort of just in this no man's land really where for 2 years you just, you're not getting an opportunity to keep growing.
How'd you get through this bit?
It was tough, to be honest. I don't think I really managed it very well because I didn't really, dissociate from that very well and keep sticking to the process because I just wasn't getting an opportunity. Like I was working the nets really hard, but you can only get so much better in the nets. Like I just needed an opportunity. And the year after that in BBL 8, I got another contract and then I played. I started the first game. I played the first 3 games and I played really poorly. Okay. So again, that goes back to just, like 2 years of not getting the opportunity. I finally get it. Like this is my chance to do it. And I just wanted it so badly that I was
trying way too hard.
When I was playing for Bankstown, I was just free. I was in the moment, just playing cricket, attacking it, doing all those sorts of things. And then, I was just holding on way too tight, trying to control the outcome.
So you're not obviously you're not getting in the contest here, and you're not being ball by ball, and I was being present.
Just trying to control the outcome, and so played the first 3 games, bowled poorly, got dropped. Came back in for a game at Optus Stadium at the back end of the year because they dropped a spinner and played the extra quick with the pace and bounce over there. Bowled well that game, but then got dropped after. Was only in for conditions, so came back out and then finished that year. And that was a real line in the sand moment for me. So that I've never told anyone. I only told my dad, to be honest. But after that season, I made an ultimatum with myself that I was going to give myself 1 more year. And it wasn't necessarily about performance. It sort of was, but it was more around enjoyment because at that point I was putting everything into it. As I said, uni sort of going nowhere. Your life's sort of on this standstill. And I was just getting nothing out of it, like no enjoyment, to be honest. Like there were times where obviously over the year you'd have fun and enjoy certain things, but I was putting so much of my life on hold for this cricket, missing birthdays, missing weddings, missing time with your family, with your friends. And I just felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it. I wasn't getting the return on investment sort of thing, for a lack of a better expression, for all the work that I was putting in. So I said to my dad and no one else that I'm going to give it 1 more year. And
how did he take that?
He was fine because he was always just as long as you give it a crack and you can look yourself in the mirror. Like I'd certainly given it everything I'd given it. I couldn't have possibly given it any more. And if at the end of that time in a year after the season, if same sort of thing, I'd played a couple of games, but just not done well, but just not enjoyed it, not found a way that this is my dream, not found some kind of way to just enjoy being able to play for the Thunder, travel around, play in front of big crowds. Like if I can't enjoy that, then what am I doing? So that really freed me up to be like, okay, well, if this is my last year, I'm just going to try and find some way, shape or form to just enjoy this game, even if I suck. If I go for 10 and over, 15 and over, I'm just going to find a way to take this in and enjoy it. And that really freed me up. I was really lucky as well because it wasn't just that mindset. It was also that whole time, those 3-4 years, I was still just doing a pre-season for Bankstown. The Thunder don't have a pre-season, wasn't with Cricket New South Wales, so wasn't doing a pre-season there. What really changed it, to be honest, was Phil Jakes, who was head coach in New South Wales at the time, whether it was his idea or general manager, board member, whoever, they decided to invest in, they called it a transition squad. So for guys like me, Chris Green, who were on contract with the Thunder but not with New South Wales, we could go in and do the full pre-season with them. Not paid for, but...
It's interesting, though, because I'll let you keep going on that because I actually really want to understand this.
Yeah.
But they're just signing you on a Thunder deal and trusting that you're going to turn up to game one of the Big BL in the best shape you can.
Exactly. So that's like, you know, you're not really giving yourself that much chance, and not because of me, but like there's a reason we have coaches. They're there for a reason.
Absolutely.
They help you get better. So for those 4 years, I had those coaches in that moment, but come time for the Big Bash, you're not working on your bowling technique, which was really what I needed to do. My bowling technique needed to change. I wasn't efficient. I wasn't reliable. I didn't have a reliable technique. It would cause me to miss. I was sort of working against my body. My mechanics needed to change. So that's eventually what happened. But that's sort of why I was kind of not improving for those 3 or 4 years, because I was just doing everything myself. I was my own batting coach, my own bowling coach. You have people at club cricket that could help me, but obviously that wasn't sort of helping me get to the next level the next level.
Yeah.
So that was sort of, the thing that changed it was that they said, you can come and do your full pre-season with New South Wales if you want. Obviously not paid for it, but there's just full access to bowling coach, batting coach, gym, all that sort of stuff. So
talk me through. So I've had both Jay and Will Salzman on here, and they said the similar sort of thing to what you said when you first started at the Thunder, and said you're looking around the change room going like, you know, and they did it in different ways. Jay was looking around going like, far out, Steve Smith's there, like Brad Adams there, whatever. And Will Salzman sort of said that he's looking around the change rooms going like, oh, what does Smudge eat for lunch? Like, what car does he drive? Like, what's like he's manifesting in that way. Are you looking? Is it obviously there's the impact that you're going to have in terms of training. But then there's also probably that little bit of a motivation piece in a sense of looking around going like, oh, that's where I want to be. Like I want to be where Sean Abbott is, and then above. And then like what Mitchell Stark is or whatever.
Well, it was funny because so what happened was once I got that opportunity to go in there, it was also COVID year, or it might have been before, but it was also a time where there was no Australian cricket. So when I first got in there, after about a month, Pat Cummins is in there, Mitch Stark's in there, Josh Hazelwood's in there. And so you're in the gym, you know, in there with them.
Working with them,
So you're doing your bowling drills, just, you know, start a pre-season off a couple of steps. They're in there doing some stuff as well before they fly out. So you're looking around going, holy shit. Like these guys
the way Salzman explained it as well is like people pay to go watch these people. People pay these people to go to a function and speak. And I get to be, he's like, I get to be paid to sit there and go to the gym with Pat Cummins or whatever. Like that's the piece he sort of explained. And you'd almost pay to do it. Like you essentially did.
No, it was wild.
Are you still living on the South Coast?
Nah. Well, I'm in Adelaide now.
No.
Oh, at the time, sorry. No, so I moved up. So that was sort of like, okay, I've got full access to that. I put uni on hold for the semester, and that was again sort of like a chips in moment. It was like, okay, I've got opportunity to do this full pre-season. Let's just do this full time. So I moved up to Sydney with a couple other guys from the South Coast who were sort of looking to move up at the same time.
Who was that?
Matt Gilks, who was sort of younger but then just moved up. Ben Taylor from Canberra, who was then playing club cricket at Bankstown at the time, and a guy from Wollongong named Jason Ralston who plays at Randwick still.
Okay.
So we had a share house there.
Which we're at?
In Monterey, like Brighton Le Sands way. Nice sort of spot, not too far to get into training. All of us from the South Coast, so sort of easy enough from there to duck down the highway and not get too much traffic. So we were in there and then just fully dived into that world of New South Wales pre-season.
So are you working part-time or anything?
Working part-time, yeah. So just sort of freed up more time with uni and then just working after training. So, the thing that changed was then so Andre Adams, who I'd said was involved at Auckland, who I then worked with for a month when I was over there, he was the bowling coach. Can't remember if it was his first year or he'd been there for a year, but I had a prior relationship with him, got on with him like a house on fire, still talk to him to this day. He sort of, I suppose, already knew me and probably just like professionally for him saw me as a real project. Like a lot of guys that he'd probably had already been on contract, already had bowling coaches, were probably already kind of roughly at the level that they could get to. I was someone who was still very raw, hadn't had any technical coaching, so probably was like a passion project for him to really try and unlock me and take me to the next level. And he gave me as much time, if not more than anyone, even though I wasn't on contract, even though I was just this sort of transition squad player.
I reckon, mate, no, not even kidding. I reckon they can sit back and see who's going to actually do the work.
Yeah,
I reckon
that
he's
as well.
looking at you going like, this guy trains his absolute backside off.
Yeah,
Like,
and he knew that because I'd been with him in the past, so he
Yeah.
sort of knew me as a person and knew that there was probably a lot there technically that would help me,
Yeah.
and that I was going to put in the work as well, as you said. But yeah, he helped me change my action, got me sort of a bit more, got my alignment a bit better, wasn't blocking myself, wasn't coming around myself as much, got me in, just got my action working for me instead of working against me. So, and that changed everything really. So that year, picked up probably a yard of pace and became far more consistent, wouldn't miss full and get driven, had far more consistency and a bit more energy off the wicket. And then from there also, you see yourself physically improve, your confidence goes up with that as well.
Absolutely.
So from there, played the Big Bash, played about, I think it was 14 game season that year, played, I reckon, 8 of the 14. Didn't set the world on fire, but did well, did by far enough to enjoy it. And then it was like, okay, let's do this. Shane Bond was the head coach of the Thunder that year. And I reckon it was sort of towards the end of the season, back end of the season, Daniel Sams got concussed. We had a really good side that year and a lot of all-rounders. So I was batting at 9. We had Ben Cutting at 6, Daniel Sams 7, Chris Green 8, me 9. So we had stacked batting.
Stacked.
And Sams, he was batting 7, got hit in the head. It was sort of back into the season, really important period. Had about 3 games in that seven weeks. We could win those and sort of come top 3, or we could lose those and fall out of the finals. And we got to Perth, and I remember he messaged me and said, "Can you come up to my room for a quick chat?" So I got, right, I'd been bowling pretty well and been batting pretty well. Like, no one really knew I could bat that well at 9. So, like, tail enders come out in Big Bash game, you start pole hunting, you want wickets.
Yeah.
So teams were going at my stumps, and that was just feeding into my swing. There was a game against the Renegades, I hit 20 off 5 balls because guys are just going at the stumps, whereas unfortunately you don't get that anymore. You walk out, people go slow and wide or Yorkers straight away now. But so I'd been playing really well, and he brought me up and he said, "Oh, look, Samsy's out. Do you think you can do the same job that he can do for us at 7?" And I was like, "Oh, probably not." Like, being honest, like he'd that year he'd hit 90 off 50 balls against the Renegades at Marvel. So like he just played for Australia as well in some one-day games. So I was
Different batter too.
different batter as well. Like both
Yeah.
hitters, but he was in, like, I think everyone would objectively say, like, he was a better batter and a better slogger. Red ball, I would have said I'm probably maybe a better
Yeah, that's
batter.
what I was sort of getting
But,
at. Like, you're a bit technically
more
better. He's
technical
stronger.
in terms of T20, just hit the first ball for 6. He was really, really good. One of the best in the comp at that role.
Yeah.
So I just said, honestly, I was like, oh, probably not. Like, didn't think I was being, like, not backing myself or anything. I was like, no, I don't, probably not. And Bondi really sort of, because as I said, I got a lot more confident, but I probably still hadn't fully unlocked how mentally much confidence I had in.
Is this still a bit of imposter syndrome?
Yeah,
or
a little
you
bit.
there now?
A little bit, but he just said, "Mate, I don't think you understand how good you are." And he basically just sort of pumped me up in that meeting. Just said, "Mate, you're bowling 140 Ks, maybe probably rounding up. I was probably bowling about 138, but I'd been bowling well." And he's like, "Mate, you're hitting sixes, you're smacking them, you're bowling 140, like you're a jet, but you just like." And I understand why, because you've had 4 years of nothing and it's been really average, but like this year you've gone to another level, and your mindset hasn't quite caught up to where your skill set's at now. And you're not just a role player. Like, when you're on, you can win the game for us." And
You know why this is really cool to hear from someone like that?
Yeah.
Because I was at Bankstown the years when Jared Burke and Aaron Bird are talking about playing Shane Bond in a World Cup grand final. And then now, 5 or 6 years later, he's looking you in the eye telling you how good you are.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
No, I was. It was, and so I walked out of that meeting just feeling 10 foot tall. And the next day went out and played. I think it was during COVID, so we played the Hurricanes in Perth, which was strange. But I got man of the match. Bumped Darcy Short out, got Ben McDermott out LB, and sort of broke the game open early. Got man of the match, and then from there, things are sort of really. That was probably that pre-season where Andre helped physically unlock me, and then that conversation with Bondi and Sean Bradstreet, our assistant at the Thunder, who's been there since my first season, still there. Those were the 2 moments where everything changed, and then from there, it's all sort of changed. The next year, moved down to South Australia.
Yeah, I was about to say. So you played a couple of one-day games that year, though, didn't you, as well?
That same year,
Yeah.
played 2 one-day games for New South Wales, like not on contract, but they just had some injuries. Played 2 one-day games, did okay, not unbelievably well, not badly.
Talk me through, like, being from New South Wales.
Yeah.
And I know Saka's helped you a lot with your cricket and everything like that. But
Yeah.
playing for New South Wales, then finally getting picked, because this is the first time you've been picked for New South Wales, because all your second 11 game was ACT, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the first game for New South Wales ever. Maybe besides some schoolboy stuff in kids.
Yeah.
What was like, is that a cool moment?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was, at the time, that was something I'd been working so hard for, like, and all those big bashes that I'd struggled and just started to go better. Like, it was all trying to get to play for New South Wales, to get a contract and to play for them. So, yeah, at the time, that was my biggest achievement. Got to play. Parents were up there. I bowled okay, and then had a bad back spasm and actually didn't finish the game. Had to get carried off the field, so it was a bit of a nightmare in the end. But that was an amazing feeling. Like, worked so. I'm trying to think how old I would have been. I'm guessing that would have been at 26. So, 7 sort of seasons into Bankstown, playing in grade cricket, chasing that opportunity. Took quite a long time to get there, and I think it would have been after 7 years. So, like, it was a long time coming, and
Absolutely.
I felt like.
But then also to have the back spasm mid your first game, you're probably thinking like, no, I'm never going to get here again.
No, exactly. It was brutal. So it was a bad one, and then again, sort of didn't really think I'd probably play much. Didn't play any Shield cricket again, and thought I was pretty ready to play Shield cricket, to be honest. I'd played a lot of second 11 cricket, but just never got the opportunity. They obviously had a lot of good bowlers, some that I felt like I could definitely have done a job instead of. But
absolutely, there's definitely some there now you could.
It's not, you unfortunately don't get to pick the team as a player. So just never got that opportunity. And then, actually at the end of the year got delisted. So like the whole year I'd sort of been doing really well, had a really good big bash. All the feedback from New South Wales was, you're doing really well, but we see you as a sort of bowling all-rounder. They basically just said that we didn't really see you as an out-and-out bowler, like that your bowling was good enough to play purely as a bowler, that you'd only play in Shield cricket more as a bowling all-rounder, i.e. in Sean Abbott's role, and he's the best bowler who bats 8 in the comp. So,
and they're probably thinking there's other guys like Samsey and stuff who could potentially play that role as well, right?
So like it was sort of, I guess I was kind of, stuck in that. They only saw me in that role, and obviously I felt I was good enough to play just as a bowler, but they didn't see it that way, and that's just how it goes. So end of the season came down to, they had one spot left on contract for me or Lockie Hearn. Lockie Hearn, young batter who really good players up in Queensland now, and had finished the season in the Shield team. So like no brainer to stay with him. So, was very surprised that I got delisted. I thought I'd been, I hadn't played, but I'd played really well, deserved to be on contract, and was quite surprised that I got delisted. But
you weren't listed initially, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, you see,
I got one. So after that year, sort of fast forwarded a year, I got a contract.
Oh, okay.
The following season, COVID hit. So at the start of that year, I felt like I was probably going to get a lot of opportunity, because as they'd said, I was sort of in that Sean Abbott role. Sean got picked in the Australian tour to go to South Africa, and then COVID hit and that tour got cancelled. So he not only did he come back, so did all the Aussie boys. So I was just, I'll see you in Big Bash. Like that's just New South Wales season done.
Mate, there's I just want to say, like, there's a lot of period here that like no one knows this stuff, right? Like this is just day-to-day stuff that happens in cricket, and the amount of resilience that you've shown just to get through this period is pretty crazy. Yeah,
it was a long time. Like, it was a long time coming, and again, that season was just like that whole pre-season. I'm licking my lips for an opportunity. I've finally got this New South Wales contract after this would now be into my 8th season in Sydney. Long time coming. Just you're building it up so much in your head. Like, been waiting so long for this, can't wait to play however many Shield games and blah blah blah. And then COVID hits and Sabah comes back and the Aussie boys come back, and you'd be like, well, cheers, there's the season over. Get delisted after feeling like I'm playing really good cricket. Didn't again get opportunities.
Is there any much feedback off the back of it, or is it just thanks, mate?
There was some pretty direct feedback. I basically was told in my exit meeting that they didn't think I'd ever play first class cricket as an out and out bowler. Like, again, they saw me as a bowling all rounder type role, and that if I didn't get an opportunity in another state, and if I was still there, they still thought they could pick me if there were injuries. But as I said, it was between them or Lockie Hearn for me and Lockie Hearn for one contract, and no brainer to go with him. So it was just, I again just disagreed that there were bowlers that they were playing at the time that I thought I was certainly better than, but that was just what it was. So it was the best thing that could have happened for me in the end.
Absolutely, because I know these next few years are really important. But do you think the way that you handle that in a sense of like, because from outside looking in, it looks like you've just gone and worked harder again.
Yeah.
Do you think getting knocked back, not necessarily knocked back, but like all the resilience of how much has happened over those that period of time, I suppose knocked back in a way, but even since you're a kid, like not making a lot of the pathway stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think that really just built you for that moment to be like, because that you could easily have packed it in right at that moment and gone, I'm going to go finish my degree and whatever. But
yeah, I just, at that point, I also had offers to then go to Tasmania and South Australia. So I knew I wasn't done.
So they were in the email already?
More or less, yeah. And I was probably likely going to leave, even if I didn't get delisted, because I just knew like I wasn't getting the opportunity. And I knew I was ready to play. I was good enough. I just needed the opportunity to play. So, you know, obviously there were reasons why I didn't play and, you know, still could have played. But that year, the player that I felt like I should have at least played a couple of games or one game or something. But for all those things to go against me to not play, I was like, well, there's no point staying here because that could happen again the next year and I'm ready to play.
Absolutely.
I was looking at Tasmania and South Australia. They obviously had openings there where I felt like I was going to play. Wasn't guaranteed a spot, but went to South Australia. Again, they didn't, say you're going to start every game, but I just knew based off of their list profile, there wasn't really someone who was a bowling all-rounder or just someone in my role. So went down there and just, again, attacked the pre-season, just, everything that had happened in the past for, every pre-season training session felt like my grand final because it was like, I'm going to leave no doubt for these people to not pick me in this first game. Like I'm not giving them any chance because of what I'd been through the last couple of years of not getting an opportunity, even though I wasn't giving them any reason to not pick me. Pre-season games, now that I've played a part of them, once you're sort of playing and your spot's pretty secure, they're a bit of a
box ticking
exercise. For me, that year that was my Ashes.
Mate, absolutely. And I think so that year, I actually do know a little bit about this year. So you've gone to SA. I think you bowled the most balls in the Shield season that year out of anyone, which is crazy considering spinners can bowl 40 overs a game. You've then got an opportunity to go play county cricket, right?
Yeah.
And over that 12-month period, I believe you bowled the most balls of anyone in world cricket, right?
Yeah.
In game.
Yeah.
Just red ball?
No, just total for the year. Red.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So that's like when you sit back, or not necessarily sit back, but at the end of that year and you hear the stats and stuff like that, are you kind of going like all this grind and all this hard work, getting knocked back so many times, getting told I'm not good enough by New South Wales, not in those words, but like I'm not a good enough bowler to play as a bowler.
Yeah.
I've now gone out and shown that the way that I play my cricket, it's built on hard work. I'm the best fielder. I'm the fittest guy. I'm a bowler that can bowl 40 overs in a day if need be. Maybe not that many, but
maybe not quite.
Yeah.
I think I bowled 37 once for Bankstown.
Did you?
Oh, I don't know if it was in a day. It was in an innings, so it's probably split over.
Yeah. Well, you can sit back and go. That really has kind of shown the way I play my cricket is the way I've trained and the way I've worked hard at getting there. Is that kind of how you sort of sitting back looking at that?
Yeah, it was definitely after the first season. It was a bit of a pinch myself moment.
Is it a bit of a F you in a way as well to people that
kind of
internally? I mean,
definitely,
you wouldn't say that.
Not to the whole organisation because again there were so many people at New South Wales who helped me. Like again, Andre, Phil, Jakes for sort of bringing in that transition squad and working with me those 2 years that I was sort of in and around the group and then on contract. So there are a lot of people there that helped me so much, as well as then there's maybe just the one or two people who don't pick you and delist you that you kind of have a bit of that too. But yeah, it was a real blur, to be honest. Like after, as you said, sort of not much games other than Big Bash and all those sort of setbacks and no's and play for South Australia and play the whole season, every game, red ball and one dayers, and then get an opportunity to go over to Warwickshire and play over there, and play an Australia A game as well. In Sri Lanka that year as well was sort of, just insane from where I'd been to there. So sort of expectations changed pretty quickly and on the fly. And then I've been really fortunate that sort of, without fast forwarding, that's been my year for the last 4 or 5 years of Shield and one-day cricket with South Australia, and been over to the UK every off season to play county cricket over there. So it changed pretty quickly, but yeah, definitely just validates all that work of driving up to Sydney 6 days a week and moving away from family to go down to South Australia and all those things. So yeah, sort of long time coming.
But it also shows the base you build as well, to not be breaking down when you're bowling that many balls a year though.
Yeah,
I know you're probably not bowling quite as many now.
No,
but because I don't think you're playing red ball over there.
No, the first 2 years over there I did the full red ball season, so that was 10 first class games here. I don't think I played all 10. Might have played 9 Shield games, and then 10 first class games over there. So 19 4-day games in the year, 2 years in a row. So including the white ball cricket as well. So that was a lot. And then now I've got the opportunity to sort of leverage deals over there to play a little bit more white ball cricket and try and keep a little bit more freshness in the legs instead of going over there and just bowling yourself into the ground on the county schedule, because it's relentless over there. They play so frequently. To get over there and just play some white ball cricket's a little bit easier on the body.
Yeah, cool. What's Dizzy like to work with?
Dizzy's great. Keeps it simple, I'll say that. He's very much top of off, occasional sniff, red ball, plan Bs, do plan A better. Like really it's sometimes it got a little frustrating because my plan A isn't 145k outswingers from 6'5" like he was. So my plan A is not quite as good as his. Obviously, with how much Test cricket he played, and his record's a joke. It's incredible. So, but no, just an awesome guy. Really, just a people first coach sort of thing. Will sort of manage you as a person and emotionally far more than he'll dive into too many in-depth cricket. Like he's not really going to tweak your action too much. He's more just going to sort of empower you to do what you want to do. But just an awesome guy, and set a great culture for people to come in from interstate. I think if you look at how many people came in from interstate that year that I moved down there, also Nathan McSweeney, Brendan Doggett, Jordan Buckingham. Conway came a year after. Yeah. But Conway had also played as well, so he was already sort of had played and got his opportunity. Nathan McSweeney was young, but sort of took a year down there, didn't play as much, and then obviously he's gone bananas. Jake Fraser-McGurk had sort of been yo-yoing, not playing much, got not delisted, but Victoria, I think, took him from a full to a rookie before we got him, and then we sort of, have the pre-season with him, and then first game goes out and breaks the record for the fastest 100 ever. So Mackenzie Harvey, guys like that. So the amount of people who've come from interstate with limited opportunity and then have either got a second chance and revived their career, or were young and really gone nuts after going down to that environment. Not just Izzy, also all the assistants as well. Yeah. But that environment, you have so many people get opportunities and thrive. That says a lot about the coaching staff and the leadership of the environment to allow people to feel comfortable just being themselves and just go out and thrive. So I think that's a real testament to him as a head coach of how many people have sort of got opportunities under him and really, really kicked on.
Absolutely, man, that's great. And obviously, without fast forwarding too much, you obviously won the Shields season last year, the first time in 30 years or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 28 or 29, 30 years or something like that. So that was incredible. Just felt like such a long time coming for South Australia. They love their cricket down there. They love their South Australians as well. So I'm sure the fans obviously would love to have a few more local players in there instead of as many interstate guys. But just to see how passionate they were about last season, just the support we had, and also on the grand final, the crowd we had for a Shield game. You don't really get crowds for Shield games. But to have that many people at Karen Rolton Oval and to see them storm the field was insane. You don't see that anymore. That's something you see when you watch Fox reruns of the 1980s or 90s where Alan Border hits the winning runs and people running on
World
and
Series
he's
and stuff.
People with the bat whilst he's trying to get off. So that was insane. I didn't think I'd ever see that in my career.
That's pretty cool.
So to see that was pretty insane, and just so amazing for not just the playing group and the coaches, but people who've worked at Macca for 20 years and been through some pretty lean years, very lean years, and the fans as well. So that was just an awesome experience.
Love it, mate. Love it. And then I know we've been talking about a lot of adversity this whole way through, but now this year you've even got more. So over in the UK, get diagnosed with vertigo. Talk me through this.
Yeah, landed, got back from the UK.
Oh, when you got back?
Yeah,
Okay.
landed day after I landed, just sort of, a bit jet lagged as you are. And around lunchtime, I just sort of was like, oh, geez, don't feel great here. Sort of went to lie down on the lounge and laid back. And whilst I'm there, just the room just starts spinning and fever, and go to the toilet, throw up for about 24 hours. And then just, absolute Disneyland, to be honest. So, still got it at the moment. But for the first month, I don't think I did anything more than a walk down the corridor, trying to, lucky it's a narrow corridor that I could kind of trace the wall to the bathroom, or else I would have just fallen straight over. So, it was pretty grim. Ended up with what's called vestibular neuritis. It's effectively nerve damage to the vestibular nerve, which I'd never heard of in my life, but it's in your inner ear, massive thing that controls your balance. Ended up with nerve damage to that. And
what causes it?
It's just a virus. Yeah, so just completely random. How many times you get a virus, sits on your lungs, you go for a walk and your lungs are blowing up. It was sort of same sort of thing, but for whatever reason, instead of it attacking your lungs, it attacked my inner ear. So just super rare and can happen, but also very rare to then get nerve damage on the back of it as well. So, pretty unlucky, I guess, in a way. But it's been pretty tough, or very tough to say the least. For about 2 months, I didn't train at all, didn't do anything, just couldn't. Gradually sort of time went away, like the spinningness all went away. And so that's all gone now. But now I've still been left with the nerve damage. And basically what happens is when I turn my head, my eyes go with it. So, if I look at you and go like that, you move there and then bounce back. So, when I'm running into bowl.
Yeah, that'll be great in a 2020 game.
Yeah, when I'm running into bowl and looking at, say batter's feet for a Yorker, their feet's just going like this every time I bowl. And then when I jump and turn in my gather, the batter spins. So you sort of, you're not really sure where you're quite bowling the ball to. So it's been a really tough year, to be honest. And probably in hindsight, maybe shouldn't have been playing as much as what I have or at all. But it's sort of been playing some red ball cricket for South Australia, a couple of games before Big Bash and some one-day games. And it had been tough at first. I'd sort of started to feel like I was getting into it a little bit and finding a bit of a way to cope with it. I wasn't obviously bowling at my best and what I had been for the past years, but was kind of finding a way to do a job. So I was sort of coming into Big Bash with a lot of doubt and a lot of anxiety around it, but also a bit of hope that I felt like I'd started to get somewhat comfortable with it. And T20's just been a different beast with just the intensity of the game, playing it at night with the lights and the lack of depth perception that I've got and the blurry vision and just the amount of running that I'm doing, then that sort of blows you up. So it's been rough. I bowled pretty pies basically the whole tournament in hindsight, but
it's crazy too.
It's small margins. Like T20, it's small margins, and that's sort of at the moment just without having control of your balance, and your balance is so important in fast bowling in your action. And when you don't have that balance, it's sort of it's not really feeling too sexy at the moment. But it's all done now, and get a week off before sort of Shield cricket. So hopefully things will settle down and sort of get back on top of it a little bit.
Are you going to play first game?
I think so. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I think it'll be a case of having to manage it. Like we started playing a few Shield games before Big Bash, and I had to have a week off because it had just gotten too hard to manage, and had a game off, let things settle, and then played again. And that next game was a lot better. So that was sort of, it's just something we're going to have to manage. So it's sort of not a guarantee. Nothing's linear. Play if it's good, keep playing. If it's not, and have to have a game off, then that's just what it is. So
that's so sad.
It's been challenging, and it's hard because someone does a hamstring, someone's and it's there, whereas no one can see what I'm actually experiencing. So that's probably been the hard part, is that once I get back bowling, people are like, oh yeah, he's sweet, he's good to go, like he's back bowling. But they probably, even if they see the ball goes into a reasonably good area, it's not necessarily feeling great even to get it there. So
Well, even like, for example, 2 nights ago, you like, so Macca and I've been chatting the last couple of weeks, and he's like, I've shut it down now. We're out of finals for the Big Bash. Yeah, shut it down. I'm going to come back, play Shield cricket now. Like the vertigo's just no good. Yeah. Daniel Sams gets knocked out by a short ball batting, and you're sitting there just in your civvies, or you might have been in your Thunder gear, but just sitting there chilling, and the physios come in and said, Macca, you're in, like you're concussion sub, and you're like, oh, righto. You've had to go out and bowl against Steve Smith and Babar Azam, the two of the best players in the world, if not, like Steve Smith, if not the best player in the world.
On an absolute
ever.
Heater. Yeah,
and you're bowling. The Thunder have trusted you to bowl to a short boundary, and and you don't know, and you can't see where his feet are.
No, so it was it was a bit of setup to failure there. So, no, it was funny. Like I was just sitting, sitting there watching Davey Warner put on an absolute clinic, eating toasties, and in my joggers. Like as I said to you, I sort of once we got knocked out of finals. After the Adelaide game, I'd sort of feet up and just rest to let the vertigo settle and so I wasn't even running drinks like it's normally if you're 12th man you're likely to be the concussion sub. You're at least
so you're a little bit more switched on.
You do a warm up at the start of the innings. You're running around. You're running a drink out. You're running a helmet to the wicket keeper. You're engaged in the game and you're a little bit switched on. Mm-hmm. I was not in the squad because I'm tools down. I'm resting. I'm by no chance am I going on this field. Samsy gets hit, and it wasn't just that he got hit, it was also the timing of it, because if he gets hit in the 10th over, he gets ruled out then. You've got 10 overs before you got to go out and bowl where you can go out the back, have a bowl, you can start getting going. He got hit third last ball of the innings, I think it was. So, like, he got hit, comes off. He also smacked the next ball for 4 or 6. So I was like, he's all right. He came off, he was no good. He got hit like under the grill, so it was like throat and jaw. Had to get a couple of stitches, so it was nasty. But also like they're sort of assessing him in the innings break, and I was in the back sort of helping the drinks runners out, sort of getting all the gloves from the boundary, putting them back in the change rooms after the batting innings, because obviously people are changing gloves. They've got spare bats out there in case they've got to run it. So I'm just putting things back in the change room, helping them out. And then the physio just comes hurling up and just yelling out, Macca, you're in. And I've like turned around, like, what's going on? And he's just like, he's like panic stations. And so, because I strapped my knee before I play as well, so he's like, strap your knee. And so still didn't actually know whether I was in, because the doctor was assessing Samsy, but he'd obviously gone and chatted to the coaches. The coach said, all right, we'll put Macca in, because I guess Sydney Derby, it was sort of, we had a decent score on the board. It's kind of like, let's try and win this for bragging rights. So like, I could have gone one of the young guys and given him an opportunity, but they, after being tools down, they've chucked me back out there, and so jumped on the physio bed. Physio's just quickly strapping the knee. They're going out to bowl, and I'm like just finishing the knee tape. So doctor comes in, he's out. So go in, get changed, put my spikes on, get on there, get out to the dugout about halfway through the second over. Had to be on by the second over, or else you start losing time, because if you're off for more than 8 minutes in cricket.
So you haven't even bowled a warm-up ball?
Haven't bowled a warm-up ball, haven't gone for a jog, haven't done anything. Just literally cold as anything. Bowled heaps of overs the day before because I wasn't playing, so I was getting my workloads up for red ball. So I bowled heaps in the nets the day before. So I quickly rushed out the back, bowled 3 balls in the nets, because I had a couple of overs, had till the end of the over, rushed back out, got there on the field for the third over, and actually sort of felt like not that nervous. So, which was probably a hindsight to be like, that's just how unprepared you are for this, that like you're not even switched on to get into the contest, because like that's just part and parcel of the game. Before you're going out, your body starts, you start getting nervous, anxious, excited, whatever you want to label it, but you start getting ready to go out. And I was just completely calm, which was probably a sign of how unready I was. And I'm trying to get, the only thing that's going through my mind, because obviously I hadn't marked my run up either. So fast bowlers, you mark your run up. So I'm yelling to Wes Agar and Ryan Hadley, who are the 2 other quicks, saying what's their run up, to try and figure out where they are, to then step back to where my run up is, so that I don't just bowl no balls. So and I'm like hoping that they're close to mine, so I don't have to guess too far. And they're yelling back 20 something, and I'm 23-20. So I'm going, geez, I've got to guess 3 metres here. Like,
are you doing the old scratch the mark?
Well, I was going to, So I was going to do that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, geez, 3 metres, I've got to figure out like 3. I was like, that's a decent amount of where you can go wrong. If you're out by that much, that's a no ball. So I'm like, I've got to try and guess 3 metres here. Did so, and then put a little bit extra just in case, so it wasn't a no ball. Luckily, the boys were all over it, so they ran out the tape measure between overs before I bowled, which I think is probably a first to ever happen. I don't think the footage picked it up, or they didn't show it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
So anyway, but yeah, between overs, they've ran that out, marked it quickly. I'd overcated by about 20 centimetres, so I wouldn't have bowled no ball, but I would have been battling to get there. So yeah, it was pretty calm in the moment, actually. It was just like, oh, let's just try and hit top of the stumps. First ball, Smudge just absolutely smacks it for 6 to the short side. I was like, So I said to Davey, it was like, felt like it was a pretty good ball. Like, anytime you get hit for a 6 to the short side, T20 cricket, like...
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it... You've also got to assess, like, they're obviously going to target that. Any good batter is going to. Is it a good length ball, like, where they've had to take a risk to hit it there, or have you missed full where they can flick it, or short where they can pull it? But, like, have you actually hit your length to the point where they've got to take a risk to get it there? And I was like, pretty sure it was a pretty good ball. Like, I don't think it was it was a pile. I was just, I didn't have much energy on it because it wasn't very warm, wasn't very, hitting the wicket super hard after straight coming out, no warm up. But I said, Dave was like, mate, I'm pretty happy with it. He's like, yeah, that was a good shot. Like, go again. Next ball.
Are your beans going a little bit now though? And you hit for 6, or you?
Not really. I sort of just like almost admitted defeat in a way. It wasn't a great thing. Like, I was getting into it, but again, like, I just felt like, no, it was a good ball. It's a good shot. Like, that's how it works in T20 cricket.
Yeah, and he's the best player in the world.
And he's the best player in the world with a chip on his shoulder because he's not the T20 side. Like, he comes back to Big Bash and it's...
Did they not pick him?
Well, he's just not been in the T20 side for a long time now.
Yeah,
so,
I know that.
He wants to play. He said very publicly that he wants to play and whatnot, but he's just, they've got Travis Head, Mitch Marsh opening the batting, and they've just gone in a different direction. But, when he comes back to the Big Bash, he's got a point to prove, and we've seen how much he's dominated for the Sixers when he's played. Like, he's the best player of our generation.
Easily.
Admittedly, T20 is not his best format, but he's obviously a jet, and he had a point to prove. I think Davey getting 100 was probably also one of the worst things for us as well, because that probably like him going, okay, no, I'm not going to get that staged on his home ground. But yeah, it's a second one, like, happy with it. Go through your process, like, it's a good ball. He's just played a good shot. Go again. Top of the stump, sort of nipped back a bit, and he's gone to slog it again. Inside edge at past fine leg for 4, like, again, good ball. So at that point, I was like, it's a good ball, but he's got it again. Like, he's clearly just going, like, every ball, like, it's time to stop holding length and now go, like, try and Yorker or wide, slow, whatever it is, change it up. Said to Davey, I was like, mate, I reckon I've got to change it up. He's going. And he's like, no, like, that's our chance to get him, like, hold length again. And I was like, what? Jeez, I feel like it's probably time to go wide and slow, or Yorker or wide Yorker, do something different, because he's going. And anyway, so he's gone hold length again, just go a little bit wider. Don't go into him as much, try and go channel. And unfortunately, that just helped him free his hands up even more, and he put it on top of the Barongal stand. So then he admitted after that, boy, he's like, right, let's change it. So change the field, went a Yorker, nailed it, which I was pretty happy with, and then soluble bouncer, way over the top. He does the exaggerated leave.
Are you just laughing at that?
Oh, just, trying to stay in the moment, but also, like, no. Because I know him okay. Like, he played at Sussex for a couple of games when I was over there as well. I didn't play with him because you can only have 2 overseas, but I was there when he was there. So trying not to laugh, but also, like, somewhat inside giggling. And then, sort of got out of the over, and I think he went for 22. So it was, not ideal. But after literally being sitting inside 5 minutes before that, it was not sure I could have done much better, to be honest. So it was a bit of a stitch up, but, is what it is. And tried what I could for the boys, but it wasn't our night. So,
mate, it's hilarious. I love it.
That's the game.
Absolutely love it, mate. Just a couple of quick questions towards the end, because I know we're conscious of time and we've been here for a long time. What advice would you give, like, young guys coming through the grades now, wanting to make it?
I mean, where to start? You could say so simple or so much, but I think, like, at that age, I think cricket's such a hard sport in that I feel like, and maybe it's just because I had to take a long time to get to where I wanted to get to, but I feel like in cricket we rule people out so young. Like, after 19s, we've already got an idea, like, talking to head coaches or list managers or whoever, they're talking about giving rookie contracts to some kids. Like, oh, no, he can't do this, he's this, he can't do that. Like, they've already got an idea, or they've put them in their box of what they already are at 19. And so I don't think it's fair. I also understand it, because, like, that's the time you've got to give them a rookie contract. So by the nature of the game, you're forced to make decisions on them at that age. But no one knows what a kid at 18 is going to be or not going to be. Like the absolute stars they're just going to jump off the page. You don't need to judge them. They're going to be very easy to stand out. I think young kids just that if you don't make, say, the 19s or get a rookie contract straight away, that doesn't mean it's over. It's not as easy. It's going to be harder. You're going to have to go the long way around, but it's not over. And I think especially now, depending on if they've got skill set that translates to T20 cricket, there's so many opportunities now with even like club cricket. Like you go up to Brisbane now and playing the T20 comp at the start of the year before Sydney and Victoria Premier Cricket will start. So like, there's opportunities for people to play T20 cricket. They can go up to Darwin and play in the Strike League in the off seasons. There's so much more T20 cricket in general, sort of all year round. So I think there's still so many opportunities for young kids to develop and to grow that, you know, if someone puts a line through you at 18, 19, just if you believe in yourself, there's still opportunities there is all I'd say.
Yeah, love it. If 16-year-old Macca walked through the door right now, what are you telling him?
I'll tell him to stop opening the batting and start working on your outswinger a bit earlier. I think early I would have just probably tried to tell him to enjoy the journey a little bit more along the way. As I said, I'm very task orientated and do at times, and even now, like it's something I'm so much better at managing now compared to what I was in those early years, as I said, when I was sort of holding on too tight and trying to control the outcome too much. But even now, like as much cricket as I play, I still get so caught up in where I am now. Then I'm going to the UK and I'm playing here, and you've got to take a step back and sort of enjoy where you are a bit more at times. And that's something that I've gotten so much better at, but still something that I can still improve on in the moment at the moment.
Absolutely. So, is that something you mentioned the sports? Is like without going into it too much? Is that something you've worked on with the sports psychs?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with sports psychs since sort of that first year of the transition squad with New South Wales. That was sort of the first season I started. Working with the sports psych and diving into that whole sort of mindfulness space. And that's helped me massively, especially for someone who's probably, I think different people are going to get different benefits or different levels of benefits out of that. For me, who was someone who was probably quite an anxious person and quite, really likes to be in control of certain things in a sport where you can't control the outcomes, diving into that world, helped me massively. And it's something I still do a lot of today, working with the sports psych down in South Australia. I've sort of been different ones over the years, whether it be at the Thunder or New South Wales, South Australia, but it's a space I'd encourage anybody to dive into if they haven't, because it's certainly not going to make you worse.
Mate, love it. What's your go-to cheat meal?
I eat pretty clean, to be honest. Probably dessert. That's my one thing. I don't really have any like blowouts for brekkie or dinner, but I eat very well, I'd say, but pretty prone to a dessert. Like if you go out for dinner and there's a nice sticky date pudding or a tiramisu or something on the menu, then that's me. Yeah, bit of a sweet tooth,
mate. Love it. And finally, dead or alive, you dream golf foursome. So you and 3 others, and you can't pick me. I'm carrying the bag.
Jesus. Oh wow. I'd have to go. I'll go Binger out of Oak Flats. We got a bit to talk about over 18 holes.
Have you had much to do with Binger?
Little bits, yeah.
Okay.
Again, he commentates quite a lot, so see him around the ground a lot. Had one night out with him actually in Albury, of all places. We played a New Year's Eve game.
Was Daryl there?
He was watching. He wasn't at the pub with us, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I had a night out with him in Albury, at a pub in Albury, probably three New Year's Eves ago. He was down commentating, and him and Brad Haddon were at the pub afterwards, and Had's ducked off, and then a lot of our guys were going home early because they were playing golf the next morning before we flew somewhere, and I wasn't playing golf. And so they were all sort of going, goes, "Where are you going, youngster?" And I was like, "Oh, I was going home." He goes, "No, you're with me." So me and Ollie Davies had a night at the pub with Binger, which was pretty cool. So I'll have Binger. This is very, very rogue, but I'll go Leonardo da Vinci. This is probably showing off my nerdiness and my civil engineering history. A bit of a nerd for history, and he's, to anybody who knows anything about him, like not just his ability painting and all that sort of stuff, but he was an engineer. He had designs for helicopters and catapults in a time when they couldn't build them. So just a genius, he'd be pretty cool. And a fourth. We'll go Don Bradman. We'll throw him in there. Why not?
Love it.
Nice to meet him.
Mate, absolutely. Mate, this has been absolutely awesome. Super grateful for your support with this. Been awesome to watch your story from afar. And Nathan McAndrew, everybody.
Thanks, mate.